Hey everybody, it's Wendy. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here with me today. I have a fun note card box for you that will hold 3" by 3" note cards. I am going to do all the designer paper first. These little pieces here are cut at 1/2" by 2.5, and the larger piece that I'm layering it onto are cut at 7 1/8 by 2 3/4, and then we need 3 of those. So I'm making those first, and then we've got pressed petals designer paper in larger squares. So I'm doing a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 square on top of a 3 by 3 square. The box itself is 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 and then 1 inch deep. So if you want to use this to put little 3 by 3 note cards in, you totally can, or for other things. The Pressed Petals Designer Series paper is my fave. I absolutely love it. This is the box piece, and it's cut at 5 1/8 by 7 1/4. Let me verify that actually. I need to look at my notes. Yeah, 5 1/8 by 7 1/4. And then you're going to score at 1 inch on each side, on the 5 1/8" side. And then you're going to score at 3 1/8 and 4 1/8 on the 7 1/4 inch side. Good grief. Everything is listed below the video, the description area. So if you need help on measurements and stuff like that, please reference that area. And it's all listed there for you. Okay, so I'm adding tear and tape adhesive to just one side of this little note box, and then I'm going to just simply fold up the edges. Fold in those tabs first, fold up the edges, and then fold it together and adhere it. And I recommend always using tear and tape adhesive or some other really strong adhesive when you're making boxes, because otherwise you will end up in a real pickle because the box will start coming apart, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so the next thing is to just add all these designer series papers onto your box. Honestly, you could do that before you put it all together if you wanted to, but it works fine to do it after. Then we've got our little piece for our lid. This piece is cut at 3 3/8 by 5 3/8, and then I'm simply scoring at 1 1/8 of an inch on every edge. And then we're going to trim in on the score lines to fold it all together. Okay, so I have to tell you that this project gave me ulcers. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because I was creating so many things at once and my brain was mush by the time I got to this one, but I really struggled with putting this one together and getting the measurements correct. I had to redo it like 4 times, and sometimes that just happens. So I feel like I get a total A for effort on this project because I worked this sucker over 100 times, and it's so simple. It's like seriously one of the more simple boxes that I've ever made. But for whatever reason, even like here where I'm doing the adhesive, it's like I forgot to put adhesive on these tabs, and then those tabs need to get tucked inside. So I'm telling you this to say to you that sometimes you just have to bear with yourself. Sometimes you just have to keep on going and keep on trying because you'll eventually get it right. And this was one of those projects. Also, I kept getting interrupted, and I think that makes a huge difference. If you continually get interrupted when you're doing a project, especially one that is a box or something and it requires measurements, it is super frustrating, first of all. And secondly, it is distracting. So you lose place of where you are. Isn't that beautiful? I absolutely love this box when it's finished. Okay, so I'm using the Modern Heart stamp set for the sentiment. I am obsessed with this stamp set. I've already told you that. And a hole punch because I'm going to add this to the front of the box on it as a tag. We've got the vintage lace ribbon here. It's very vanilla, and I'm going to tie it around the top of the box to make a pretty bow. And that way when the lid comes off, it'll all come off together, but it just gives it a little pretty accent on the top. I almost didn't even decorate this box. That's how frustrated I was by the time I finally got the box figured out and put together. I was almost like, forget it. I'm not even going to decorate it. But then I was like, Wendy, you've come this far. You put all this up. I'm not kidding you. It probably took me 3 hours to do this project, when in actuality, like when my brain isn't totally mushed up, it probably would have taken me like 45 minutes. So there's that. And you know what? I'm sure that there's about 4 million projects like this on the internet. I could have just gone and copied somebody else's and been done, but I just couldn't do it. I had to make it myself in my own measurements, in my own way, to just prove to myself that I could do it and that I was not like incapable all of a sudden of making my 3D projects. So long story short, I finally got it together and managed to make it, and it turned out beautiful. I absolutely love it. And I did not make the 3x3 note cards yet that go inside of it, because I ran out of some of the supplies that I needed. And I also was so frustrated by the time I got this finished that I did not want to make any note cards for it. So there they are. There this box is. Someday it'll get note cards made to go inside of it, and until then, it's done. All right, you can click on either one of the videos you see here to watch them. You can click on the circle with my face in it to subscribe. Shop with me at shop11stampin.com. All the products are listed below the video, along with the measurements for this box, and I hope you have a much less frustrating time creating it than I did. Thanks so much. Bye.